The Parasitic Mind, How Infectious Ideas Are Killing Common Sense. Author, Gad Saad. Year of publication, 2020. Published by, Regnery Publishing. The Parasitic Mind, How Infectious Ideas Are Killing Common Sense, is a provocative and insightful book by Gad Saad, a Lebanese-Canadian evolutionary psychologist and professor at Concordia University. Published in 2020, the book delves into the cultural and intellectual issues plaguing contemporary Western society. Saad argues that certain ideological movements, which he refers to as idea pathogens, have infiltrated academic institutions and broader cultural landscapes, eroding critical thinking and common sense. The book draws on Saad's expertise in evolutionary psychology to explore how these harmful ideas take root and spread, much like a parasite infects a host. Introduction: The metaphor of the parasitic mind. Saad begins by introducing the concept of the parasitic mind, comparing certain ideologies to parasites that hijack their host's cognitive processes. Just as a biological parasite can manipulate the behavior of its host to ensure its survival, Saad argues that idea pathogens can warp human reasoning, leading individuals to adopt beliefs and behaviors that are harmful to themselves and society. He asserts that these idea pathogens are particularly prevalent in academia, where they often originate and spread to the broader public through education and media. The rise of idea pathogens. Saad identifies several key idea pathogens that he believes are undermining common sense in Western society. Among these are postmodernism, cultural relativism, identity politics, radical feminism, and the rejection of biological differences between the sexes. He argues that these ideologies share a common thread: they reject objective truth and reason in favor of subjective experiences and emotions. For instance, postmodernism challenges the existence of objective reality, claiming that all knowledge is socially constructed and therefore relative. Saad sees this as a dangerous trend that leads to the erosion of critical thinking and intellectual rigor. Postmodernism and cultural relativism. Saad devotes significant attention to postmodernism and cultural relativism, two closely related ideologies that he views as particularly pernicious. Postmodernism, with its rejection of objective truth, has given rise to cultural relativism, the idea that all cultures are equally valid and that no culture's practices or beliefs can be judged as superior or inferior to another's. Saad argues that this mindset leads to moral relativism, where even the most abhorrent practices can be excused or tolerated under the guise of cultural respect. He cites examples such as female genital mutilation and honor killings, which some cultural relativists defend as cultural traditions that should not be criticized by outsiders. Identity politics and victimhood culture. Another major focus of the parasitic mind is the rise of identity politics and the culture of victimhood. Saad contends that identity politics, which prioritizes group identity over individual merit, has led to the fragmentation of society into competing victim groups. He criticizes the tendency to view people primarily through the lens of race, gender, or sexual orientation, arguing that this reduces individuals to mere representatives of their group and stifles meaningful dialogue. The culture of victimhood, according to Saad, encourages people to define themselves by their perceived oppression and to seek validation through victim status rather than personal achievement. The attack on biological reality. Saad also takes aim at the denial of biological realities, particularly in the context of sex and gender. He argues that the rejection of biological differences between men and women is a prime example of how idea pathogens distort reality. Drawing on his expertise in evolutionary psychology, Saad explains how certain behavioral differences between the sexes can be understood through the lens of evolution. He criticizes the notion that gender is entirely a social construct, arguing that this belief ignores the significant role that biology plays in shaping human behavior. Political correctness and censorship. One of the central themes of the parasitic mind is the danger of political correctness and the suppression of free speech. Saad argues that the fear of offending others has led to self-censorship and the stifling of open debate. He is particularly critical of cancel culture, where individuals who express unpopular opinions are ostracized, deplatformed, or even fired from their jobs. Saad warns that this trend toward intellectual conformity is antithetical to the values of a free and open society. He advocates for the importance of intellectual diversity and the free exchange of ideas, even those that may be uncomfortable or controversial. The role of evolutionary psychology. Throughout the book, Saad draws on principles of evolutionary psychology to explain why certain idea pathogens are so appealing and how they spread. He discusses the concept of costly signaling, where individuals adopt extreme beliefs or behaviors to signal their virtue or commitment to a cause. Saad argues that this can lead to a kind of ideological one-upmanship, where people compete to show their moral superiority by adopting ever more radical positions. He also explores the role of social contagion, where ideas spread through social networks much like a virus, infecting individuals who are susceptible to their appeal. Prescriptions for the parasitic mind. In the final chapters of the book, Saad offers solutions for combating the parasitic mind and restoring common sense. He emphasizes the importance of education and critical thinking, advocating for a return to reason, evidence-based thinking, and intellectual humility. Saad encourages readers to resist the pressure to conform to ideological orthodoxy and to speak out against irrational ideas, even when it is difficult or unpopular. He also calls for a reinvigoration of the scientific method as a means of uncovering objective truths and countering the spread of idea pathogens. Conclusion: a call to action. The Parasitic Mind concludes with a call to action, urging readers to defend the values of reason, free speech, and individualism. Saad warns that the survival of Western civilization depends on the ability to resist the spread of harmful ideologies and to uphold the principles of the Enlightenment that have fostered scientific and cultural progress. He appeals to readers to be vigilant in protecting their minds from ideological parasites and to contribute to the cultivation of a healthy intellectual environment. Reception and impact. The Parasitic Mind has resonated with a wide audience, particularly those concerned with the state of free speech and intellectual discourse in contemporary society. The book has been praised for its clear and compelling argumentation, as well as Saad's ability to explain complex ideas in an accessible manner. Critics, however, have taken issue with Saad's broad-brush characterization of certain ideologies and his occasionally combative tone. Nonetheless, the book has sparked important conversations about the role of ideology in shaping public discourse and the importance of defending intellectual freedom. In summary, The Parasitic Mind is a thought-provoking exploration of the cultural and intellectual challenges facing Western society. Gad Saad's analysis of idea pathogens provides a framework for understanding how certain ideologies can undermine reason and common sense, and his call to action encourages readers to actively engage in the defense of intellectual freedom. Whether one agrees with all of Saad's conclusions or not, the book offers a valuable contribution to the ongoing debate about the role of ideology in modern life.